If you want to be a nurse, don't get a bachelor's degree. Do this instead. Get your associate's degree. Work as a nurse. Most associate degree programs are 18 months, 2 years max. And then while you're working as a nurse, most companies will pay for you to go back to school and get your bachelor's. So you can get your bachelor's degree for free.
Welcome to the Common Sense Philosophy channel. How you doing today?
I'm doing good. You?
Splendid. So today's title was Professional Degree or Just Nursing Money. Professional degree or just nursing money. So have you been hearing about this whole nursing thing?
Yeah, a little bit. Not a whole lot, but I could see how it could shake up their worlds because they're like, I put all this time and money to get to this certain level, and now they're going to change the status of what it is. So I think on a more of a sentimental area, they feel away. So, I mean, I don't know what to make of it.
Yeah, I think what's a little more sentimental because someone's saying it's not a professional. So it can make you feel away if you don't understand what's going on. But it's just professional and graduate. It's just getting into how much they're willing to give you far as loans federally. That's all it is. It's the levels of the actual occupation because most people are getting these loans and saying they can't pay them back.
Mm-hmm. True.
So it's just putting a clamp on it. So it doesn't put people in a lot of bad positions. Also, I don't think that these jobs are not professional. Anything you get paid for and it's set up is professional. I think it's just getting things back to the actual levels. Everybody, a nurse will think they're just as good as a doctor. You hear them say that. And they're like, well, the doctor is the doctor. So it's just about putting the world back in its motion. But very interesting thing. So we're going to watch some clips and we'll come back and speak on it some more. All right.
Yep.
If you want to be a nurse, don't get a bachelor's degree. Do this instead. Get your associate's degree. Work as a nurse. Most associate degree programs are 18 months, 2 years max. And then while you're working as a nurse, most companies will pay for you to go back to school and get your bachelor's. So you can get your bachelor's degree for free because college is way too expensive. So now you're working as a nurse, getting paid as a nurse, and your job is paying for you to get that higher degree. Come on, this is common sense. Unless you're a person who goes to school and gets a full ride, and kudos to you, sis, but most of us ain't got that. I went to school, got my associates, has been working as a nurse for 4 years now. I'm about to finish my BSN and my job is paying for it. The only caveat is a lot of jobs will require you to stay like 2 years if they pay for you, but the fuck is 2 years if you can get a BSN for free?
They passed one big beautiful bill, caps federal student loans at $100,000 for graduate degrees, $200,000 for professional degrees. Nursing, even in a packed COVID ward, is not considered a professional degree.
And 20 years ago, I spent $100,000 in loans to get my nursing education. So that's just not going to work in today's times.
When nurses are scratching their heads and wondering, after all that the profession has done to support healthcare, to support us through COVID, and to not be considered a profession is a real blow to all of us.
And beyond the perceived insult, they fear the borrowing limit will impact the number of people willing to enter the nursing profession.
The system will crumble if you don't have enough nurses to either teach the next generation or to support the access to care issues that we do currently have in this country.
Please sign it. This is regarding them declassifying us from the professional category. I need all 800,000 of you that I have across all my platforms to please sign this. This is where we put our money where our mouth is in nursing. This is how we help stand up and fight for our profession.
Wow. Once again, a lot of information. So what you think?
Yeah, that's some good points in there. I think the lady that was talking about the job thing, how they'll pay for this schooling, that's a thing. But if we get to talking about it too much, they'll start switching stuff around because they're like, okay, these people are using us to be able to do something.
Yeah.
So I would be careful on that side, but that's definitely a strategy that could be used. This is a lot to go into that. I mean, people do, they can't pay their bills and stuff. So I could see why they're like, oh, let's just cap them because they can't afford it anyway. So it's an interesting topic.
Yeah. I think it's going to come down to this. The whole thing is the finances, with the education department and all these, Trump, he already said he was going to tear through that because the public schools are trash. And, where's the money going? If all the money is going, you're talking about almost $1 trillion, $529 million going to schools for education. The Department of Education is just a big thing of money that's going, and you got schools that don't got no books, they got roofs falling apart, and then most of it is basically like a bank. They're running the money through because there's $1 trillion worth of school loans, so they give it to you, but they charging you. So it's like, hold on, why don't we just shut this down? Because now anybody can go just to get in debt. It's not really helping people. People coming down have jobs off these degrees. And you say, well, what about the nurse? Okay, this professional degree, the nurse. And I'll say, oh, is it just nursing money? I'm just playing on words, nursing money. Are you just, holding it in your hand, playing around? Because I personally know nurses that are struggling bad.
Yeah.
Maybe due COVID it was a little different. They was traveling, but they're hurting. So what's the point of having this job if you can make $100,000 a year? Because most don't. But once you get the tax, you're going to drop to 60, you'll do, so that ain't enough money.
True.
You dang sure ain't going to be able to pay back $200,000, $300,000, $400,000 worth of school loans. How you going to pay it back if you're living on $50,000 a year?
Yeah.
How are you going to pay back this? And it's building interest.
True.
It really don't make sense. So declassifying it to under that is not hurting you. It's just saying, hey, this is not working. That's how I see it, but I'm open to hear more. We're going to watch some more clips and come back.
All right.
Yeah.
Don't stop. Don't let this discourage you. Let this motivate you, because we still need more nurses, not less. And you are a part of the solution. Drop a heart in the comment if you still believe nursing is a professional.
Why is everybody so surprised that advanced nursing is not being recognized as a professional degree? When has nursing ever been recognized for anything other than COVID? You were literally a hero for 1 year. The next year, you couldn't even get a discount on a coffee, man. We're used to this.
All graduate students could borrow up to the cost of attendance, and that helped drive up tuition prices. But some worry new restrictions on loans could make it harder for students to afford a degree. Following President Trump's One Big Beautiful Bill Act, the U.S. Education Department has proposed lifetime caps for loans for graduate students at $100,000 and $200,000 for professional students.
When you talk about capping what we can take out for student loans, it means you can't do the education you might need to actually execute on that professional expectation.
Who qualifies for the higher limit is one concern because only some professional programs are explicitly recognized, like pharmacy, dentistry, veterinary medicine, law, and medicine. And while the proposal says degrees are not just limited to these, it does not outright mention ones like education and nursing.
They're doing so to enrich companies that are already worth billions and billions of dollars. Nurses and teachers are no longer considered professionals, according to Trump's Department of Education.
So, what you think?
I mean, that's a lot of information.
Yeah.
And I'm going to have to do more researching after this to get more understanding on it. I can still think the people that went for teaching and nursing and they're like, oh, I'm a professional. And then now all of a sudden you're not classified as that. And it's only on the money side of it. So I just think I need more information as far as the financial side of it. Cause I'm more leaning towards dang, that's crazy. People ain't even being recognizes that no more.
And that's where you're right. That's where people get it twisted. So that's where the woman said, no, you still want to do it because they think they're not professionals. That's not what this is saying. You're still a professional person if you get paid for your employment. You're still a professional. What it's saying is there's graduate, there's professional. Graduate is capped at 100,000. Professional can go up to 200,000 plus, right? That's the difference. You know what I mean? That's all it is. If you still want to be that profession, you can go still be that. You just gonna have to take out private loans, which you could probably get a better number on than going through the feds. You know what I'm saying? You probably could get a better amount if that's what you want to do, or you can just go a little higher. So that's where people, to me, it looks like people just getting it twisted. They keep saying, well, now I'm not a professional person. That doesn't even make any sense. It's like, what? No, you're still who you are. You're just saying they're not going to give you a loan because why are we going to give you this loan and okay, I'll tell you like, it's like this thing called hard money. If you can go to the bank, you got good credit score, good business score. They'll give you money to buy houses. You can get into real estate. But if anything's a little crazy, you can go get this thing called hard money, which they'll give you the money, but the interest rate is higher. And you better go ahead and get it cleaned out and get it back because they're going to be dipping into your account. So it's not that you can't do it this way, but if you decide to do it this way, it's going to cost more, you know? So really, you just really need to figure out what you're doing and what you're after. That's all it is. Because all this money is being poured into the Department of Education. It's just sitting there. There's too many schools that are doing terrible. These kids getting in 6th grade and can't even read.
True.
So it's time for this whole thing to be refixed. People are putting their kids in homeschooling because it's safer and they're learning more. The whole thing has flipped and changed. So it doesn't even make sense. So when people say, no, I'm not professional, you are still who you are. It's just they're not going to give you the loan for it no more. You know, you need to go do it that way. But, you know, it's so much to talk about. Just thanks for coming to the Common Sense Philosophy channel. We're going to watch some more videos and I guess we'll talk about all this later.
It's not the only program that they reclassified and no longer call it a professional degree. Here's a list right here: nursing, physician assistants, physical therapists, audiologists, architects, accountants, educators, social workers. The United States Department of Education under the Trump administration reclassified these degrees and no longer considered them professional because they no longer want to cover them under federal student loans. So what does this mean? It does not mean that you can no longer pursue these professions. It means the federal government is not trying to pay for them anymore.
The Department of Education handled about $229 billion of the $9.7 trillion that Congress allocated for federal agencies in 2024. That comes to about 2.4%. Despite the department's small size, it's taken on an outsized role in political rhetoric.
We will ultimately eliminate the federal Department of Education and send education back to Wisconsin and back to the states.
We're seeing sort of broader attacks on public education, and an extension of that is that we see attacks on the most visible symbol of public education, which is the U.S. Department of Education.
Where someone lands on this issue may come down to whether they believe regulation from the federal government is onerous on state governments, or if federal regulation serves as oversight that provides protection to children.
The Department of Education has often been described as a gargantuan bank with a third-rate policy shop attached, because the biggest chunk of the money they manage there is over $1 trillion in federal student loans.
Having a lot of back and forth about what exactly is going on with nurses no longer being considered a professional degree, including a lot of articles on the internet. So I'm going to clear it up for you right now. When the One Big Beautiful Bill Act got passed, what it did was change our federal student loan system. So previously, up until this goes into effect on July 1st of 2026, people who are currently in graduate school, for medical school, physical therapy school, whatever kind of graduate school it is, you could take out as many student loans were required to pay for your graduate schooling. There was no cap on it. The One Big Beautiful Bill Act changed it so that we would now have a two-tiered system. People who were considered professional degrees could now receive a lifetime student loan limit between undergrad and graduate school.
You're mad because the government just said your degree is unprofessional.